Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, so officially it's not vlog day, but I just woke up, and as you can tell by my beautifully unmakeup, made up, and sleepy face, I noticed something. Nothing around my feeding tube is painful anymore. For the first time. Which is like, wow. I mean, I woke up and it took me a while to realize that my feeding tube was actually still there. And then, of course, Happy woke up and she always wants to sit on my tummy and then wants to be cuddled and give me a hug back. And even with her 6.5 kilograms of Happy sitting on my tummy, on my feeding tube, I still didn't feel anything. I mean, I felt that there was something there apparently, but it didn't hurt even a little bit. Which is actually quite an overwhelming feeling. I'm so happy with that. So I just wanted to quickly pop in and tell you that, and I'm gonna continue this vlog tomorrow, but just wanted to give you this update. Good afternoon, everyone. So today I figured I'd film kind of medical day in the life of. Basically meaning that I will take you through all my medical actions, such as taking medications, changing my patch, my pain patch, caring for my stoma site from my PEG tube, lunchtime medications, which I've already prepared over here for the most part. This is, by the way, here I put medications that are not dissolvable in water. I put them in here and I just take them orally. But I find that, I'm not sure why, but they work less good as when I was to dissolve them in water. But for now it's just my magnesium in here. The pharmacy gave me the wrong brand, and this brand has like a very hard coating on the outside, which does not dissolve in water. So I have to take it separately now, and so I just take, instead of 3 times a day, I now take 4 times a day until I'm out of this brand and I get my proper brand delivered again. And in here, this lovely color, already in here is my multivitamin, my oxycodone, and my paracetamol. And I'm going to add this, which is my stomach acid medicine, but that's only supposed to be added at the last minute because otherwise it will get really thick and you can't put it through your tube anymore. So I'm just gonna add that to here. Also, I'm not sure if I mentioned it in yesterday's little video thingy, but I got a call from my GI specialist today. And she confirmed what I already thought, which is that the procedure went well in the end, but it was pretty hard for the doctors. She also told me why in pretty great detail, but that's a disgusting story, which I may or may not tell you some other day. I'm so glad I was asleep during the whole procedure, because that's stuff of nightmares, guys. Alright, so this is all stirred up, and I'm going to put it into my syringe. I'm just gonna, sounds disgusting, but I'm just gonna suck it up like this. But the best thing of all, my feeding tube is going to be changed to a button probably by the end of March next year, which is really good because That way I'll be rid of my dangling feeding tube before summer starts, and nobody will be able to see that I have a feeding tube at all. So this over here is it's not my feeding tube. My feeding tube is way over here, but this is the tubing that connects my feeds via my pump to me, and it has a 3-way valve over here, which you can use to easily flush or put medicine through without having to fully disconnect, which is great. So I first flush with about half of the water that's in here, so that's about 30 mils. I don't know why, but my multivitamins, whenever they're in the syringe, they always make the syringe leak. Yuck. And especially with the oxycodone in there, it's just pretty sticky and disgusting. So you don't want that on your hands, let alone on your clothes. That's my pump, reminding me kind of like, I'm off, press start, I want to give you more food, thank you pump, but not now. So there we go, hang on, just a tad more, that's it. Now there's just one last drop of medicine in here, but that's not a bad thing, because the majority of it's in there, the vast majority of it's in there. And then just flush it with water again. And that's it for the tube part of my medication, except of course I have to still press start on my pump. By the way, this little thing you saw on here is my urostomy bag, which is the bag for my weeing, aka peeing, aka I'm not sure where you come from, but apparently it's called weeing, peeing in different countries, so urinating. But even though I did change the whole patch and everything this morning, I didn't film that because I am planning on making a fully separate video on my urostomy, telling you guys about why I have it, what it does, how the operation went, you know, the whole thing, and then showing in that video me changing it, because I can imagine that not everybody wants to see a stoma, because it doesn't look charming or anything, and after all it is very closely resembling a wound, and some people just, you know, don't want to see that or can't handle that. So now all I've got to do is take my magnesium and of course I still have to clean up this whole mess, which means rinsing out this syringe and then drying all of them, rinsing the glass, and just putting everything in this container and then putting it in the fridge, because when it's in the fridge it accumulates the least amount of bacteria possible, so that's why I keep them in the fridge. So I'm gonna do that and then come back to you with my next medical stop. It is now time to clean and care for my feeding tube stoma site. Thanks Kirsty for telling me that it's called a stoma site. I didn't know. So basically that means having to take care of the hole around my feeding tube where it goes into my stomach. I already got all my supplies ready over here. Don't worry, it's the toilet seat, but I wiped it down with a hygienic wipe, so no worries about the germs. Even if it doesn't have to be sterile, it just has to be, you know, basic hygiene. Excuse the extremely charming angle over here. So first things first, I take off my old piece of gauze. Usually this goes easier, but I'm afraid to use scissors for this because I'm afraid to cut into my tube, which would be totally me if that happened. So I'm not going to show you this because this is my dirty old gauze and it doesn't look really nice. I'm just going to quickly check it myself. So what I do now is I take the tube out of the base plate to create some space for me to work with, and as you can see, it's still a bit red, but it's nothing compared to what it was. So I am just going to open up my gauze, which I use for cleaning it, and I usually just use tap water for this, mainly because tap water can be made warm and sterile water can, but not as easily. And then I just wet a tiny piece of the gauze and just wipe from inside out, just to prevent any neobacteria from entering the stoma. Just all around from inside to the outside. And then of course I dry the whole thing off. Again, from the inside to the outside, like this. Next, I have some cream, which I'm not sure is available in every country, but this is like kind of like emergency cream for the skin, but it's 100% natural. It just contains petroleum gel and the calendula, I'm not sure if it's pronounced like that, and a tiny bit of alcohol, maybe just to keep it from going out of date soon. I'm not sure why the alcohol is in it, but. And here I have a cotton tip. I just put some of the cream on a cotton tip, and I usually use a cotton tip for this just because, you know, your fingers, no matter how well you wash your hands, your fingers will always be a little bit dirty. So I think it's best to, you know, be as clean as possible and use a clean. These are actually sterile cotton tips, which I got from my pharmacy, just to prevent any further infection. And I usually put quite a lot of this cream on here, just to make sure it gets all little nooks and crannies. And then I just wipe the excess from the tube itself. And next is my gauze. So I have the 10 by 10 centimeters and 5 by 5 centimeters to choose from. Usually at night I put on the 10 by 10 because during the night you just, you know, you move around a bit more and it gets, sometimes it leaks more during the night because of the moving around, but during the day I have this one, which is a smaller drain gauze, and I just put that around here. And I see videos from people on the internet where it will just sit on the skin like this. I'm not one of these people. With me, if I don't use a tiny piece of tape, it will most definitely come loose. So I just get a tiny piece of tape and make sure that during the day I don't stick it on my skin, just here on the gauze to keep it together. And then I make sure that the plate is clean and move it back up. And then I just put the tubing back in the plate if it is willing to cooperate, which it isn't. There we go. And then close the little holder And then we're all done. I have you in the background. I have you in the background. So my feet just went, my pump just went off. And my feet are all done today. Yay. Which means I get to walk off leash for the rest of the day. So there we go, all done. So what I usually then do is I just unhook my feed bag and just get the tubing out of the pump, and then I just put this to the side. And now I just took my little syringe out of the fridge. Now I just have to flush my tube so I can disconnect it. Also, I just learned that from one of my caregivers that I am not allowed to vlog when they are in my house. So that's kind of a setback, but I guess it makes sense with the privacy law and everything, but still. So I'm just flushing my tube as I would normally do before and after my medication. So change the three-way valve, push the water through, disconnect. But then what I do now is I first clamp the little feet clamp over here, and then I can safely disconnect the tubing from the actual tube and close the lid. And then this whole mess goes in the trash, and I have to use a new tubing every day because otherwise it's gonna get clogged with the feeds and everything that's in it. But it kind of does worry me that it costs me to make so much trash, you know, with all the environment stuff going on. You know, it makes you think. I mean, when you have a medical condition, usually you have so much more waste than the average person, whether you like it or not. I mean, you've got no choice in that matter. And for me, it's not only the feeding tube and medications and the strips it comes in and the boxes it comes in and everything, but also all the mess that comes from my urostomy every day. I think when I were to put 1 week's trash on a big pile, I would be shocked. So I'm not gonna do that. But, you know, it's something to think about. I mean, obviously they can't make biodegradable urostomy bags, but these syringes usually last me, if I use them every day 4, 5, 6 times, they last me anywhere from 3 to 5 days. If they could somehow make a more durable syringe, durable type syringe, that would last me 3 to 5 weeks. That would already reduce my waste by so much. So maybe I should just go out there and find someone who can make better syringes, stronger syringes that you don't have to throw out as much. Or, you know, any kind of solution. And then I wondered if any of you have got any solutions for reducing your amount of waste that you produce when you're chronically ill or disabled or both. So I'm curious to find out, so just put in comments below if you've got any advice or any tips and tricks for reducing the waste you produce on a daily basis with chronic illness. I'm curious to find out. So this is technically part of my medical routine as well. just looks like cuddling with Happy, but I had a seizure 20 minutes ago, maybe already half an hour, I'm not sure, but this is not just cuddling, this is recovering. Right, Happy? What you looking at? Are the bunnies being funny? Funny bunny. You can lie down if you want to. Of course you can. And of course, Happy signaled the seizure perfectly. She did, didn't she? Such a good girl. I need you. Yes, I do. Right now, my hip is dislocated, this one. But basically just gathering up the courage to put it back because that usually hurts. Once my hip is back in, I might as well take a nap because seizures pretty much wear me out. So yeah, let's do that first and I'll get back to you guys later. So it's now 11 p.m. It's almost bedtime, and the final thing that's left to do for me is change my pain patch. This little guy, it sits on here now, but it lasts for 3 days and then I have to change it to my other arm. And as you can see, I have some tape over it because I was given a brand that my skin resists. So it's supposed to stay on for 72 hours, and with me they get loose after 10 to 12 hours. So I put this over it, which is pretty much the only strong medical tape that my skin tolerates, which is great. Took me a long time to find, but now I have it and I'm really glad. So what I do is I just cut a piece that is big enough to cover my pain patch, and then I round the corners, because you know, if it hooks onto something, it's usually by the corner. So by cutting corners in a round shape, it prevents getting hooked onto something. I'm sure you've already seen pain patches before on other channels maybe, but well, the plan for today was to show you what my medical routine is, and this is part of it. So this is the patch. It says fentanyl 25 micrograms an hour, and then you're supposed to press it with your palm for like 10 to 20 seconds to make it stick better, which still doesn't do the trick for me obviously, but you know, I just do it to give it everything I got and to make sure that I do everything I can to make it stick as much as I can. And then the fixinol goes on top of this. So there we go, and then I just usually just rub that on to make it stick better. And then I get to take the old one off, which is usually like a free hair removal as well. So there we go. And you can see that's already going pretty red from being itchy. So basically now I'm gonna change into my pajamas because this is it for my medical routine for today. I am saying goodbye to you all. Have a good night or a good day wherever you live. I don't know what time zone you're in, but have a good something. And I will see you guys in the next vlog. Bye!